Mark Ilkin Hidden Knowledge, Unraveling the Pole Shift. The 7th of December 2018 at 11:26. Weekly Newsletter Extensive Full Report. Earth, Solar Report Extensive. Looking at the Sun in 193 angstroms, measured unit of light, we can see a large Earth-facing coronal hole stretching from above the equatorial region all the way down to the southern right limb of the Sun's corona. The solar wind impact is due to arrive in the next 12 hours and will cause low-level geomagnetic storm conditions, levels of 5 kp maximum expected. The Sun's coronal holes are formed due to the Sun's magnetic field not being able to contain the hot gases. Magnetic field lines stretch far out into space. When Earth-facing, the coronal hole stream shoots towards Earth full of electrically charged particles. Essentially, the particles consist of electrons, protons, neutrons. The charged particle stream then arrived at Earth, hitting Earth's magnetosphere, Earth's protection. This causes atmospheric compressions. The particles get pulled in at Earth's magnetic poles, which is what causes the green auroras in the northern and southern hemispheres near the poles. The stronger the solar wind stream, the brighter the auroras. The strength of the solar wind stream determines how far south the northern auroras are seen and how far north the southern auroras are documented. Essentially, these are plasma reactions occurring. We also have a moderately active sunspot group on the equatorial right limb of the Sun's corona, which has already caused some low-level B-class 10 ray fluxing. There is a 25% chance of a C-class flare. However, if the sunspot group does erupt causing a C-class flare now, it will likely skim past Earth causing little effect. The Sun's flares or CMEs, coronal mass ejections, are caused by the magnetic complexity of the sunspot groups. Occasionally, the positive-negative equilibrium snaps back. Hydrogen atoms explode, which throws charged particles out into space with tremendous force. Here's a video to show the strength. https://youtube.be/-wsmlvzfb9y. When the flare occurs in an Earth-facing position, the barrage of charged particles severely compresses Earth's atmosphere. For example, we had multiple Earth-facing X-class flares, strongest classed flare, in the month of September last year, which caused incredible auroras at the magnetic poles and lots of localized power outages. Planes were grounded and some transformers exploded. Level 9 kp geomagnetic storm occurred, strongest geomagnetic storm kp index possible. This causes the power outages, etc. Stronger the solar wind, CME, coronal mass ejections, the more our electrical systems here on Earth are disrupted. On September 1, 1859, Earth was hit by a CME, which was called the Carrington event. This was a very strong geomagnetic storm. Auroras were seen around the world, those in the northern hemisphere as far south as the Caribbean. Those over the Rocky Mountains in the US were so bright that the glow woke gold miners, who began preparing breakfast because they thought it was morning. People in the northeastern United States could read a newspaper by the aurora's light. The aurora was visible as far from the poles as south-central Mexico, Queensland, Cuba, Hawaii, southern Japan and China, and even at lower latitudes very close to the equator, such as in Colombia. If an event like this was to occur in this present day, our entire electrical grid would fail overnight. We would be back in the Dark Ages, and it would take hundreds of years to return to modern technology. With atmospheric compressions comes core expansion. Due to Earth's magnetic field being directly connected to Earth's core, the charged particle stream have a natural plasma reaction with Earth's core. This in turn causes more pressure under our plates, which leads to increasing seismic activity and magma arm expansion, increased volcanic activity. With core expansion comes warmer sea temperatures, which has been increasing yearly. This alone creates more extreme weather due to our ionosphere being heated and our seas being warmer. Extreme weather. The number one factor for all geological changes on Earth is governed by solar system influence. As stated, the more charged particles from the solar system, the more our magnetosphere core reacts, leading to earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, sinkholes, landslides, electrical storms, flooding, etc. Like the flooding we are seeing now in Saudi Arabia, Indonesia and many other parts of the world. Not only is the above very concerning, another extremity from the core expansion, sea temperature rise, is that our ice caps are continuing to lose ice extent. People will try and state that we are gaining ice, which in a sense, we do gain ice every year periodically. In reality, we lose ice mass every year based on the trend over the past 30 years. You cannot judge our ice gain on a monthly chart. You must look at the data that's trending over a longer period. The opposite reaction is a rise in sea levels over the past 30 years that should follow a similar trend. So important to connect all the data. Earth is indeed heating, which is why the methane and CO2 charts are increasing. They will always try to blame humans for CO2 but never take into account the methane increase. With CO2, what they tend to leave out of research studies is the fact that volcanic activity has also been documented to be increasing. To solely blame humans is a crime to mankind, considering the sham was to tax billions on the false narrative. If Earth is heating from the inside and out, it is physically impossible for human fossil fuels to be the main contributor in global warming. When all the other dots are connected, it's very easy to understand, which is why I do what I do. People are being fooled. Every volcanic eruption that occurs on planet Earth is full of pollutants. Not just ash and dust, mind you, but also carbon dioxide, one of the strongest greenhouse gases on our planet, a close second to methane. In the largest cases, a single volcanic plume, lasting only hours, might add many millions of tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. Could it be the case, then, that individual volcanoes add more carbon dioxide to our atmosphere than human activity does? To find the answer, we've got to look to the scientific data. We tend to think of erupting volcanoes with active, smoking plumes as the biggest source of carbon dioxide, and Mt. Etna is one of those examples. It's one of the most reliable volcanoes of all. One of the main volcanoes that is set for eruption. When measuring the degassing of Mt. Etna, we find in the data that it adds about 16,000 tons of CO2 to the atmosphere each day, or 5.8 million tons per year. This might not sound like a huge impact on Earth's climate, but it's only one volcano. Also, it's not just smoking, actively erupting volcanoes that emit CO2, but seemingly inactive volcanoes around arcs and rift zones. Persistent degassing still occurs around a great number of volcanoes worldwide, on a continuous basis. A synthesis of volcanic influence took place in 2013. This indicated the value for the total amount of CO2 emitted from natural release events within Earth. 33 measured degassing volcanoes emit a total of 60 million tons of CO2 per year. There are a total of 150 known degassing volcanoes, implying, based on the measured ones, that a total of 271 million tons of CO2 are released annually. 30 historically active volcanoes are measured to emit a total of 6.4 million tons of CO2 per year. With 550 historically active volcanoes total, they extrapolate this class of object contributes 117 million tons per year. The global total from volcanic lakes is 94 million tons of CO2 per year. Additional emissions from tectonic, hydrothermal and inactive volcanic areas contribute an estimated 66 million tons of CO2 per year, although the total number of emitting, tectonic areas are unknown. And finally, emissions from mid-ocean ridges are estimated to be 97 million tons of CO2 annually. Add all of these up, and you get an estimate of around 645 million tons of CO2 per year. It's important to note, this synthesis was taken in 2013, which is nearly 6 years ago. There has been a dramatic increase in volcanic activity and hydrothermal activity through tectonic shifting. You can quite easily double that estimate as Earth's core expansion continues from the electromagnetic solar influence. Carbon taxers will have people believe that humans are to blame for the greenhouse gas effect that is upon Earth's. Humans play a role in the carbon footprint, but not to the point they portray. Earth is heating, from the inside out. They will lead you all to believe that we're overpopulated when in reality we could fit the 7.6 billion humans in Antarctica alone, with plenty of space for more. Agenda 21. Earth is increasingly being bombarded with cosmic rays, big protons, which causing a lot of radiation. Not only is Earth's magnetosphere depleting continuously, our ozone hole worsening, our atmosphere is failing to filter, keep out harmful rays. UV, UVB, UVC are on the increase. UVC is continuing to be read at ground level, which should not occur. This alone should prove to the world that our atmosphere is severely depleting. They will also lead people to believe that our ozone layer is repairing itself when in reality it's still dramatically depleting. If our stratospheric radiation is increasing, ultraviolet C is reaching ground level, our magnetosphere is depleting. How can anyone possibly believe the CIA, NSA-owned science websites? Through researching all aspects of atmospheric conditions, it is categorically clear that Earth is not repairing. Instead of showing people the truth, they will make up little articles that have no correlation with all other factors in atmospheric research, knowing that people won't research the other data they leave out. When all data is connected, you will begin to understand why the coral reefs are dying off. An increase in methane, CO2, warmer seawaters is the main contributor, cause of the marine ecosystem anomalies. Can only occur with heat, which comes as no surprise when we consider ultraviolet C reaching ground level, which changes all living organisms on a molecular level. Bleaching is one of those effects. Another problem we are faced with is due to the solar system influences. When Earth's magnetosphere is compressed from a barrage of charged particles, our magnetic field lines are disrupted. This is the main cause of whales, dolphins washing up on shores now. They use Earth's magnetic field to navigate. If our magnetic field lines are disrupted, so is their navigation. All connected. Other planetary bodies in our solar system also play a role in Earth's geological changes. We just had a planetary alignment with the Sun and Jupiter. This alone increases the interplanetary electromagnetic particle exchange, which in turn creates more energy within Earth's core. This adds to all the geological changes of Earth as shown above. Earthquakes, volcanic activity, etc. This is what's caused the 7+ magnitude earthquakes in the past week and all the other seismic activity increase. We are also keeping close watch on Yellowstone as seismic indicators are showing signs of increasing activity. It is due for eruption. We monitor this 24/7 from people watching live data all over the world. So when I am asleep, there's always someone awake watching. What we are looking at in the next set of images are increased seismic, volcanic activity at Yellowstone. Red equals magma rise and magma intrusion. Another area we watch 24/7 is the Cascadia subduction zone and the San Andreas fault. This area has seen significant increase in activity and is also due to pop in time. It's important to note, when either Yellowstone, San Andreas, New Madrid, Mid-Atlantic Ridge pops, either one triggers off the other as the crustal displacement begins. Earth's jet streams and axis tilt wobble are also influenced by the solar system. Earth seems to pass a magnetic influence in our solar system every year. We call it the Nemesis system. It comprises of a central star mass, brown dwarf, and orbiting planets. As we pass the system on Earth's orbital track, our magnetic south pole is disrupted. Due to the system being under the southern ecliptic, a battle of magnetic repulsion takes place, Earth's natural defense mechanism. This alone interferes with Earth's axis. As our south pole moves in the direction of the approaching system, our north magnetic pole is disrupted and tries to correct itself with the magnetic lock from our Sun. Below is a graph showing the variation of Earth's axis tilt wobble. The system is situated just under the ecliptic between Jupiter and Saturn, closer to Saturn now as it continues its rise from the ecliptic for its perihelion around the Sun. Here is an illustration from under the ecliptic as we reach our backside alignment from the 22nd of December, where we can expect some increased seismic, volcanic activity, as stated interplanetary particle exchange. Quick note: when planets align straight, the magnetic portal connections become shorter and straighter, which increases interplanetary particle exchange. As a result of Earth now entering the backside alignment, lasts around 3 weeks, our axis tilt is being heavily influenced by Jupiter and the system, most dramatic disruption we have seen in the last 6 years. Each year the system gradually draws closer and eventually, the outermost orbiting planet of the brown dwarf will cross Earth's orbital path, causing a very fast pole shift. It's also important to note, our frontside alignment is when we're in the danger zone. This is when the pole shift could occur on a yearly basis. All depends where the outermost planet orbiting the brown dwarf is situated on its orbit. This system is what's causing the dramatic increase in cosmic radiation, which is adding to the deterioration of Earth's atmosphere. As always, everything is connected. With increasing radiation, magnetic influence in the solar system causing problems with Earth's axis tilt wobble, the effects on Earth's jet streams are causing the polar and subtropical streams to continually intermix. This is what's causing a continuation of sporadic extreme weather anomalies across the globe. Snow, flooding in deserts, etc. There should be 4 distinctive jet streams, 2 in the northern hemisphere, 2 in the southern hemisphere, but this below is reality for Earth now and the new normal as we continue with the pole shift. As we move round the Sun on our orbital path, we will begin to enter the remnants of the tail debris field left behind by the system as it approached from the Orion constellation. A little illustration: white dots represent the debris field, colored dots represent the system. Just a rough guide. We always document more fireball events from January onward. When the system came through our Kuiper belt, asteroid belt, it knocked tons of debris towards the inner solar system and magnetically attracted tons of debris with it. This is the reason why our near-Earth asteroid data has increased dramatically in our fireball reports. The past 20 years it has shot up by the thousands every year. That is because the system draws closer every year. So we can expect significant increases in geological changes of Earth as time progresses, literally all geological changes. I will conclude this report on the French-British implications politically. The French movement grew from anger at hikes in car fuel taxes, and with driver discontent at its heart, demonstrators adopted a name and an attire associated with every car in the country, the yellow vest or gilet jaune, a mandatory safety requirement in all French vehicles. However, the protests quickly morphed into a wider movement of frustration at high taxes and living costs and mounting public dissatisfaction with President Emmanuel Macron. Now, the government do this knowing they will get a reaction. The bigger the reaction, the more control they can form with a gradual militarization of the streets, which is their ultimate goal. Brexit, UK, is also using this agenda to their advantage. They know fully that if we get a no deal Brexit, a second referendum, a hard wall Brexit, or another general election, the masses will take to the streets with protesting. France will look like a walk in the park compared to the carnage the British people will cause, because they will feel like they have been betrayed. They will never trust the government again. Rioting will be rife. This gives the government an opportunity to force more control through armed police and military outfits. There are already movements organizing the protests. All by design. Stay vigilant. Mark Ilkin. Hidden knowledge unraveling the pole shift. By becoming a patron, you'll instantly unlock access to 198 exclusive posts, 8 images, 4 links, 190 writings, 1 video, tiers, budget updates, $1